everybody. We're getting to the last third of October. There's the race on to the end of the year. So let's begin by centering, sitting straight, shoulders dropped, maybe put a pillow underneath you. I always find if the hips can be higher than the knees, it's easier for your spine because it lifts more than that it collapses. And already we've got such a collapsed lower back when we sit a lot. We're going to start with a Kalabati, a breath that you know. You might need a tissue because it does clear the sinuses, and the skull and the forehead. It's like a sweeping kind of effect. So just to remind you, as you breathe in through your nose. And then you pull this back and you breathe out through your nose, but much faster, so it's like this. That's the sweeping sound, sweeping clear that upper part of your body. So you really balloon out as you breathe in, allow it to hang out literally, and then there's a quick sharp pulling back, but also throwing the breath out through your nostrils. It's not only your nostrils, it's the sinuses that clear, and it's this frontal lobes. Like one of the yoga teachers, interesting, said she feels always it's like a sweeping clean and makes a sweeping sound. It's quite an interesting way of looking at it. So keep doing it. You may want to put your hands here just to make sure that you don't do it the other way around. Quite forceful, pulling back and throwing the breath out. And take a deep breath in and hold the breath and drop your chin. Keep the tummy in, shoulders down, hold, pause. Feel that build up. Breathe out when you need to. Just relax and take a breath in between. Of course, when you need to breathe out sooner, do so. You're going to repeat that. So quick, sharp pulling back, breathing out quickly and sharp through your nostril as well. And a bit more of a ballooning out on the inhalation. Keeping your shoulders relaxed. Sweeping sound. It's quite a force when it comes out. Four more. Take a deep breath in. Pause, hold the breath. And just take a nice deep breath or two. Let's do one more sequence. Deep breath in. Chin lock. Let go. Let's take a few breaths. Feel that you cleared out your sinuses, your head. Of course, you've worked those core muscles quite strongly if you really pulled back on those exhalations. We're going to do 2 Tibetan ones, which are sort of dynamic. The first one is the camel one, and once you're in the camel, and using fists for some reason rather than flat hands if you can, you hold it for 4 counts before you come out of it. So start this position. If you're comfortable, if you can't sit like that, always do it like that. So breathe in. Make fists as you lean back, breathe out. Now on inhalation, come into the camel as little or as high as you can. Pressing into your fist, tummy in. Pause for 4 counts, press into your shins. Holding the breath. Then as you breathe out, flatten your hands and come onto your forehead, around your shoulders and relax totally. And as you breathe in, come up. And as you breathe out, come into that Eastern Praying position. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, hold. Out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, out, in. Hold for 4 counts. Holding the breath. Breathe out into the child pose. Breathe in. And breathe out. See if you can do it in your breathing tempo. Put the pressure on your fists. Last sequence, the next one you do. And then stay in that Eastern praying position for a moment. Separate your knees if you need to. And release your back, your wrist and your hands. Feel the energy flow in the whole of your body. And a different one, which is a plough one. And again, when you're in the plough, you're going to hold it for a few counts. I usually have to support my back because I don't stay in the plough otherwise. And on the second 1, I think it's the second inhalation, you're going to tighten your body as if you're doing an inverted stretch. So as you breathe in, come up. As you breathe out, come down. Now bring your arms up, spread your fingers, maybe point your toes. So I like to flex my feet, shoulder blades down, tense everybody. And then as you breathe out, see if you can bring your legs across. If you need to, like me, support this. Stay there for an extra 4 counts, shoulder blades down. And then come up as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Breathe in, bring your arms up. Breathe out, roll onto your back. Do a kind of inverted stretch variation. Flex your feet, shoulder blades down, armpits down. And then as you bring your hands down, come into a plow. Pause for 4 counts. Come up as you breathe in and release forward as you breathe out. Breathe out. Inverted stretch. To plow as you breathe out. Stay. Really work with the breath. Tighten. Just pausing for a moment, 4 counts in the plow. A few more times. Make it your last one. And then stay a little bit longer in the forward bend. If you need to bend your knees, bend them. Always chest forward. If you can, rotate the thighs in. Bring your sitting bones back. And see how far you can release. Whole body awareness. Take a few breaths in that position. Okay, I'm going to do sunbird variation. First one is a bit of shaking, which is always nice because the nerves like shaking. So the sunbird is on your hands and your knees, more or less align them, and then see if you can bring your right leg out, try not to collapse, and then simply shake. You shake your feathers, but feel that the shaking goes right into your chest. And then release and take a breath in between. And shake the other leg. Shake your feathers. You can see this leg finds it more difficult. And then we do this flying sunbird, where you're going to lift your left leg and your right arm, bring it to parallel, shoulder blades down, pinned against you, rotate the left thigh slightly in, and then as you breathe in, you come up a bit. As you breathe out, you come back to parallel. Other way around. Now try the same side. I always cheat a bit by taking my hand a bit further up. Sorry, same side. And I just come into the Eastern praying position or sit in the hero position and take a few breaths, whichever you prefer, releasing your back. With my new lens, I still try and prefer sitting up. And then there is a pigeon twist combination, getting to the hips, and the twist is the so-called beginner's twist, but I always find it's quite a strong one. Sit, and if you need something here, put something there. Some people might just need a folded blanket or something. So see if you, as you breathe in, twist from the base of the spine into the crown, rotate. As you breathe out, you fold forward and down, resting on the top side, releasing your head. Breathing in, swing into the twist. Pause for a second, extend. Breathing out, coming to the pigeon variation, resting onto your top thigh. And do that a few times. One more time dynamically. And then you're going to hold that twist. So always work from the base of the spine. It's like you're moving through your spine into the crown and rotate at the same time. Somebody pulling you by the crown without hunching your shoulders. And then slide or walk forward. And see if you can rest on the top side, not and stop where you need to. You can go all the way down, go all the way down. Try and relax into it. And of course, now you need to do the other side. Inhalation, twist. Exhalation, release. Inhalation, twist. Pause. Now the next time you come into the twist, work again from the base of the spine. Feel that somebody's pulling you, so you elongate without locking. And really feel that shift. Breathe into it, whole body awareness, without hunching your shoulders. And stay a bit longer in this pigeon variation. You can also put your hands underneath your forehead if you prefer. And coming to the butterfly, getting to the inner thigh. So straighten up. Try and bend your elbows. If you need to have your feet further forward, do so. Keep your sitting bones grounded. Drop your knees and bring your head closer to the floor or your feet. Keep releasing forward and down. Now the variation, where you work one side differently than the other. So you can put your heel against your toe and come forward. Now if you feel it here, stop. If you can, come with your forehead towards your toe. Find that resistance, keep dropping your right knee, your left knee. chest forward. I'm glad that you had a shower this morning. At least I am. It's right onto your toes sometimes. And then just do what I call the cobbler. It's quite nice to get to your back. That way you interlace your hands around your toes, keep your knees bent. Press your sitting bones back so you're around your back, and then pull. You pull with your hands on your feet, but you press your feet forward and you round your lower back and pull it away. So it's quite a nice stretch for your middle lower back, perhaps even your upper back. Keep it going. So the resistance is really important in this one. Activating that part of your back that wants to extend and stretch. 5 more breaths. And you can do one more shake. Shake your legs. So you release the hips a bit. Then we're going to do another hip release to piriformis, which I call the shoelaces, which you all know quite well. Where you come onto your back if you need a book or a pillow under your head twister. You cross your thighs and see if you can take hold of your feet. Release your back consciously, release your shoulder blades and lift and bring your heels towards your buttocks. Do that a few times. Pulling, grounding your back. One more time. And then see if you can keep pulling onto your feet, consciously releasing your back and breathe into that. So you should feel it probably in the buttock that's of the leg that's closest. In my case, it's the right one. Your shoulder blades down, pull, breathe. Other way around. You need to use straps because you can't reach. Do so. Working now to the opposite side. And see if you can hold it. Consciously releasing your back. Elbows to the floor. Head is centered. Okay, now we're going to just for a moment circle your knees and we'll do another version which might be stronger for some of you, maybe not. You slide your left leg down, take your right hand to the outside of your right knee, your left hand to the top of your right foot. Now you're going to push your right knee, keeping it bent, towards your left shoulder. And at a certain point you might feel that it begins to activate that piriformis and gluteus maximus. And you can explore it by moving the foot which you're holding, left elbow on the floor, which for a lot of people that's too low, so they might want to stay in the air. At a certain point you find that there's a particular spot that's effective, which really works. Then hold it there, find it, release the other leg, and then hold it there. So you really begin to stretch into that area. Try and relax into it. For some people it can be really strong. Two more breaths. Go slide this leg down. Bring your left hand to your left knee, your right hand here. And again, see if you can push it, the knee towards your shoulder without lifting the hip, see if you can stay grounded. And once you've got it as far as you can take it, begin to move your foot. So you begin to feel how it activates the left piriformis and gluteus maximus area. If you find a particular spot where it's effective, then hold it there. If you prefer coming onto the floor like I do, get a stronger stretch, then do that. Release your right leg. Keep your shoulders and your back released. Head slightly to the opposite side. Breathe into that. Probably different one side compared to the other. Another 3-4 breath. Just do a nice strong inverted stretch, pull out, flex your feet. Keep your armpits moving down as you extend. And you're going to do a double leg twist, kind of an eagle leg twist. And you bring your feet up and you lift your lower back and take it 2 or 3 inches to the right. Bring your right over left. If you can do what I do, hook it on the inside of your left leg, do so, otherwise keep it on the outside. And then drop your foot back onto the floor. And drop your lower trunk and your left knee, both your legs to the left. And put your left hand onto that hand. Perhaps slide your feet a bit further out. And if you can, extend your right arm. If you haven't got space, make a right angle. But if you can, extend it. So there's a pull between the shoulder, which you want to ground, and your right hip. They pull away from each other. And it can become quite strong. So use your breath to release it. It's kind of a passive, but quite a strong twist. Some people might feel it more here. I feel it more in the shoulder. Keep the belly soft, breathe into it. It's a gravity one where gravity helps you as you let go. Another 3-4 breath. So if you have a real shoulder problem, start stretching that so you could hold it longer. Uncross. Now you've taken your lower back 2 or 3 inches to the right, so bring it back to center, and then 2 or 3 inches to the left. And cross your left over the right. You can hook it at the bottom, otherwise keep it against it. And place your right foot back onto the floor and see if you can drop your legs to the right. I always take my feet a bit further out, it seems to be easier. Keep your hand on there and then bring the left arm out and your head slightly to the left. And again, it's that counter pull of the lower back and the right hip, and left hip is your left shoulder. So just drop into that, they're pulling away from each other. Allow it to happen. Stay with the breath, keep the belly soft. Try and relax into it. Nice deep breath. So the breath itself helps you to extend and then release. Another 5 breaths. Try and really let that go of your shoulder. Okay, so if you ever want to do it longer, it can create quite a shift. See if you can bring your lower back to the center. And for a moment, bring the soles of your feet together, so your lower back in the center. And if you like to extend this thoracic region, bring your arms up if you prefer, keep them down. It gives you that extra stretch. You should breathe into the belly and drop your back with your exhalations. So quite a pull in that armpit region. You should draw your shoulder blades down, but relax. Another 6 breaths. Okay, now we're going to do some tensegrity, that you probably most of you know well. Your fingers are slightly bent. Bring your elbows not out, but kind of parallel with each other. Keep your back released, your shoulders released, and you keep your knees slightly bent, and you just take steps in the air, like you're one of those airy giants. Take large strides in the air. Now watch if your back is released, your elbows are not out, chin slightly down so the center of your head is grounded, and your knees are slightly bent, because it's not only core, which you can feel, it's also fascia stretch, connective tissue stretch. Stay centered, release your shoulder blades. And as you know, we're going to have invisible threads from our ankles to our wrist, fingers start to spread. You're going to simply go together, your head centered, shoulder blades grounded, release them, your lower back is released. Do it with the breath. And then a more tricky one, and it's best not to think, opposite arm and leg, and your head is going to roll as well. So, oh no, I'm doing it right. It's best not to think. Now your head to roll quite loosely, and I cross the midline. Some people do it on the outside. It's much more demanding because it catches your thighs. Keep your knees and elbows soft. Sorry. Well, that's it. Last sequence. Bring your knees towards you and just circle them. You can circle them together. Both directions. And see if you can do them mirroring, getting to the whole of your sacrum. And if you're quite supple, see if you can just straighten your legs for a moment and release your back, your shoulder blades. Otherwise, keep your knees bent. We're going to do a bridge. Keep your feet a little bit lower than your knees, hip widths apart at the most. You wriggle onto your right and left shoulder. And once you're up, you can wriggle a bit more. You can take your fingers towards your heels, or you can interlace your hands Really coming onto your upper arm. Keep the big toe down. Your head center, don't drop your chin too much. Draw your upper arms down. And see if you can direct your hips to your knee without lifting your toes. It's very easy to do. So keep the big toe mounted, the big toe down. Resist with your upper arm. Breathe. Five more breaths. Come down, lift your shoulders, and just do a counter stretch. Make loose fists, call it the back strength. Press your waist down, pull up, tummy in, armpits down. And then release. Kick up into a forward bend as a counter stretch for a moment, releasing your back further. Chest forward, sitting bones back. And hold it for 5 breaths. Okay, we're going to stand up. So we're now standing with our feet quite wide, slightly pointing out into that 5-pointed star. So you can really reach into your hands and then turn them and see what happens to your shoulder blades. They press against you, they go down like we did the other day. See if you can do that a few times. Extend, strongly your 4 points of your feet. And then as you breathe out, you can turn your hands, allow the shoulder blades to go down, your neck to free. And that extension from your biceps into the shoulders is more easy, supported. You're going to go into a twist. Take your opposite hand into your opposite waist and rotate from the tailbone into the crown, widen again. Right. Lower shoulder further in, higher shoulder up. Feel the whole of your spine extend into the crown. Strong your feet. Now you can bring the upper arm up, having done the full rotation, right above your shoulder. Quite a strong twist. Tailbone back. Breathe. Other way around. When you've done the full twist, extend the upper arm. Keep your shoulder blades down. Feel your feet get to the inner thigh. Whole body awareness. And interlace your hands behind you, tummy in, chest up, always navel up first. So you can really open your chest, press into your feet, engage the abdominals. Now you're going to come into a halfway pause. And bring your arms forward, palms together, parallel to the floor and back again. And once again. Extend armpit muscles, shoulder blades down, reach into your palms, which press together into your feet. Breathe. If you can, straighten your elbows. And coming to a forward bend, you can take your hands to your shin, come back into a back bend, lift, breathe, to a forward bend. Keep your hands interlaced, shoulder blades down, look through the arch, back into the back bend. If you can hold it for an extra breath, reach into your feet, tummy in. Forward bend, shoulder blades down. Perhaps you can go a bit further, but don't force it. And come into an extended kind of dog stretch with your hands underneath your shoulders, reach into your feet, sitting bones back, extend into the ground without dropping your head, lengthen the spine, and then from there you can come into a folded arm forward bend for a moment or two. Heel toe your feet closer and come into an inverted stretch. Pressing into your feet, reaching up from the waist down, extend and release. I'm going to do a sequence of Zero Powers which has a lot of back bends in it. So into the prayer position in front of your chest as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, come into a forward bend, stepping back with your left leg into a lunge, back knee on the floor. From there, come into a straight line or plank. Slowly lower your body and come into a bow variation, lifting the knees and the thighs off the floor. And then extend the legs, bring them together, come up into cobra, into plank, into a dog with your head down. And then step forward with your right foot again, to a lunge, into a forward bend and release your head. Come back into the prayer position as you breathe out. Take a breath in, forward bend as you breathe out, step back with your right foot into the lunge with your knee on the floor, into plank. Then lower and do the bow variation, hands lower, lift your thighs, flex your feet, extend the legs, keep them wide, bring them together, and then come into the cobra with your feet on the floor, your elbows bent. Into plank, to a dog with your head down. Step forward with your right foot again, it's the left, sorry. To a forward bend, and then into Tadasana with your hands in front of your chest. Down, stepping back with your left leg into the lunge, knee on the floor, to a plank, into the bow variation. Flex your feet, lift the thighs, hands quite far back and your elbows against you. Then bring your legs together, cobra, with your feet on the floor. And see if you can come into a plank. It's all quite fast. Right foot forward into the lunge, into a forward bend. Release your head and come back into that prayer position. You've probably done it quite often. As you breathe out into a forward bend. Stepping back with your right leg into the lunge, into plank, into the bow variation. Lift the thighs and the knees, your hands quite low, chest up, tummy in. Extend and widen your leg, bring them together off the floor, and then on the floor when you come to the cobra and lift your chest. To plank. Left leg comes forward into lunge. I've got the dog with your head down. And then come back. Forward bend as you breathe out. Left leg back. Into plank. Into the bow variation. And widen the legs, knees off the floor. Bring them together as you breathe out. Drop your legs. Come into cobra. Into plank, into dog with your head down, stepping forward with your right foot again into lunge, into forward bend, and then come back into Tadasana. I hope you know it by now. Forward bend, right foot back, to lunge, into plank, to bow variation. Keep your legs wide off the floor, bring them together, feet on the floor, bring your chest up, tummy in, cobra, and then plank. Dog with your head down, left foot forward, to forward bend, back into Tadasana. So you can do it on your own. It works your back muscles quite well. See if you can do just the breath. Quite tricky, this one with the breath. So don't worry if you can't. It's allowed to flow. It's what they call a yang vinyasa. Good. We're going to do a twist on toes. For once we bring the arms in line with your elbows bent and with your shoulders, so it's easier usually. Slowly with your heels really off the floor, twist to the right, hold it for 3 breaths in that maximum twist. Keep your shoulders down, be wobbly. When you've done the 3 breaths, come back to center still with your heels off the floor, we're strengthening the ankles. Keep your elbows level with your shoulders more or less and see how far you can go to the left. Maintaining your center even if you're wobbly. 3 breaths, that maximum twist. Come back and release your arms and your heels when you're back at your starting point. Take a breath in between and simply repeat. Maintaining your center, feeling it. Turning around your own axis. Last one, third one. And then slowly come back. Shake your legs. It's always important to strengthen those ankles. And come into a wide-legged one with your knees bent this time, your feet slightly pointing out. Make it really wide. And you're going to go to the right, out of fingertips to flat hands. You hold it for an extra breath, getting to the inner thigh of the opposite leg. Coming down, you used to do that with weights. No, we're not using the weights yet. Keep going. Keep this. Strengthen your feet. So you really get to the inner opposite thigh. Bending the knee. Wouldn't drop the head too much. We're going to do it a few more times. Nice hip stretch. Keep back long. Difficult to stretch the inner thighs. Of course we do it against the wall and on our back, but this is another one. Always holding it for that extra breath. Keep your spine long. We're going to do this horse's stance, so your feet quite wide. You can have your palms facing down and your fingers in. You press onto your thigh, straighten your back, and then do a nice inverted stretch, dipping perhaps a bit more, keeping your heels on the floor, your knees pointing out. So it's quite an extension, but it's strong in the thigh, as you can imagine. For a moment, release your legs, shake them. I'm going to do a triangle into the half moon. So it's all about right-left shifts. Flex your foot when you're in the half moon, open out, your hand not too far away from your foot. And if you want to, the sort of holding your foot thigh stretch, not everybody can do it, so if you don't like that part of it, then stay in the half moon a bit longer. The other side, so it's that right-left dynamic, which is always different on the one side and the other. Slowly using your fingertips, flex your foot, and if you can, take hold of the foot and pull the knee and the thigh back, rotating the upper shoulder higher, lower one in. Find your equilibrium, arms down. Find your own rhythm. And do the screwing, unscrewing of the jar with your feet. In the triangle, flexing the upper foot in the half moon. It's the shift that's the most difficult in this one. Or keep the legs straight if you can't get to your foot. Sometimes you even do this one with the eyes closed. Today we have our eyes open. Use your core. You're in the half moon, you need it. And then release into a forward bend of your choice for a moment. And come back into an inverted stretch. We're going to do the salute to the sun, and we're going to do this with our eyes closed, but of course the first one you always need to do with your eyes open. To do your own version, right, left, right is the feet, and see if you can really do it with the breath, because once you close your eyes and you do it with the breath, it's a much quieter, calmer, nicer flow. Getting into a comfortable rhythm with your breath. And then see if you can do it with your eyes closed. Not if you're dizzy or if you can't do it with your eyes closed. Keep them open, but if you can, do it with your eyes closed and you'll feel how more spacious you become. You actually focus better on the whole of your body. It's one of those vinyasas that really loosens the joints. Feeling that spaciousness within you, mindful of the breath. keeping a counting with you, creating a sense of timelessness. So literally flow for a while. And it's remarkably easy this one to do it with your eyes closed, because you know it so well. Not becoming sloppy, but each posture in its own turn. Eyes closed, flowing with the breath. Must be getting near the end. This will be the last one. Very calming if you can keep that steady rhythm and your eyes closed. And then come into a hero position or child pose, and for a moment relax, allow your breath to settle. And feel the energy flow in the whole of your body. We're going to do the crow, and you don't have to lift, you can always come onto your toes, but the important thing is you can see how low my elbows are, they're almost at my ankles. And keep your toes on the floor, crane forward with your head in your chest, and if you can lift off, then lift off, crane forward, see if you can hold it, breathe, or come up in bits. It goes up and down, you can see how I'm flying. Now I'm just demonstrating keeping your toes on the floor and craning forward. And then the other thing is the forearm plank. And what you could do is bring your knees down in between. Some people find it quite strong. Armpits down, shoulder blades down. So you extend from the crown into your heels. Usually the hips are too high, mine is also too high. And then bring your knees down and then extend again. Because you can't see your own hips, so you think they're right, but they're not. And then come into an Eastern Praying or Child pose to release it. Strong on your arms, so we usually don't do that too long unless you have very strong arms. Usually the men are stronger than the women for this one. To do a lunge and then a back bend into a forward sort of diagonal extension. So make sure your knees over your ankle, your hip is locked as you come back, and then reach forward and up, keeping your head parallel with your upper arms.
It's like you're pressing away, shoulder blades, armpits down, look up, really bring your chest up, shoulder blades down, and then extend diagonally. You might be leaning on your top thigh, but quite strong in your back. You need to have your hip locked and press strongly into that front foot and have the foot directly underneath your knee, your ankle. Quite a strong back bend. And then come into the Monkey King, just to release the hamstring. You head towards the inner front leg, your toes up, your hands as far forward as you can, so you get quite a strong hamstring stretch as a counter stretch. Other way around. Make sure your knee and your ankle are more or less aligned. Lock your hip forward and down. So you've got that stability present your foot. Elbows bent, palms facing up, look up, armpits down, chest open, and then diagonal forward and up with your head between your upper arms. So find your kind of range. Keeping that hip locked so you can do the back bend from there with your upper trunk. Pulling those armpit and shoulder blades down when you're in the back bend. Once again, the Monkey King on the other side. Release. And you head towards your leg or inside of your leg. Extend your arms, toes up, straighten the front knee. Maybe just come into a sitting position, because now we're going to do a forward bend boat variation. I'm going to do a forward bend boat variation, one that I've neglected a bit. So as you breathe in, your arms come up. As you breathe out, come into the boat state of an extra breath. And then as you breathe in, come up as your arms right angle, forward bend as you breathe out. And you keep doing that, breathing in, right angle, breathing out, boat, breathe in, breathe out, hold. Legs back to the floor, arms up, armpits down. As you breathe in, forward bend as you breathe out. Right angle on the inhalation, boat on the exhalation, pause. As you breathe in, you come back into that right angle and then forward bend. So you hold the boat for an extra breath. If you need to bend your knees, do so, but see if you can straighten them. You've done that. Come into a forward bend for a bit longer. Feel the energy flow in the whole of your body. I'm going to do one which helps as people have got a rounded back in that middle part, and a lot of people have. So instead of the pigeon, you actually sit on the heel. Take your hands quite far back, your elbows bent against you. So you breathe in, you press your palms back, but your collarbone comes up, your shoulders back. So you hollow that, or begin to straighten that rounded back. I keep on pressing back in my hands as I bring my collarbone head up. As flat on the floor as you can, and then come forward and down, still slightly pressing back. Keep your elbows against you, so it's quite effective for that purpose. To begin to hollow that middle back. If you sit a lot, people tend to be a bit stooped there. Opening that pectoral chest region, engaging it. Giving the shoulder blades down, and then hold it for a few breaths. Pressing back, collarbones up, upper arms rotated back, look up. And then you can come forward and down as we do in the preliminary pigeon for a moment release. The other way around, so sit on your left heel, bring your hands a bit back, chest up, collarbone up, tummy in, bend your elbows against you. Keep pressing back as you bring your upper trunk up, hollowing your upper back, or try to. Moving with the breath, inhalation you're up, exhalation come forward and down. You can hold it for a few more breaths. Extend, release. You can bring your head to the floor. Letting go. And then we're going to do what I call the genuine dog or cat. So on your knees, as you're sitting bones directly over your knees, and then drop your chest to the floor, extend your arms, and if you can, like I'm doing now, bring your head up and come onto your chin. But that's sometimes too strong. It does exactly the same thing. It hollows that spine at the back, which can often be rounded. So it's quite a good stretch if you have that rounding in your back. You've had enough. Come back into the frog, which also does it. Not as strong, but it will do it. You can see it. So if you can, bring your chest to the floor. Widen your knees and allow the spine to have a dent in it and lengthen. So a good counter stretch if you've got that bit of rounded upper back. I want to do the classical twist. So I've got the right knee up first, do it twice, so this is warm up. You can do what I call the stop sign, elbow to the outside of your knee, you can have it against your thigh, you can have it on the inside of the knee. But always from the base of the spine, sitting on both your sitting bones, extend into the crown, and then slowly rotate. Allow the spine to elongate. The smaller muscles along it can also lengthen and activate, and the other way around, left knee up. Keep the front foot grounded. Work from the base of the spine into the crown without lifting your shoulders. Feel that you extend the whole of the spine as a unit right into the neck and crown. Like a Cleopatra. If you can take your hands through that, the threading the needle, do it that way, but don't do it if you round your upper back, which happens often. Slowly rotating, keeping your sitting bones grounded, front big toe down. Breathe into the belly, whole body awareness. Quite a strong twist. Other way around. Once you've got the elongation, foot centered, you can just rotate from the inside out. Shoulders down, shoulder blades down. Breathe. Feeling the twist. Freeing the spine. And of course you're also massaging some of the organs along it, squeezing them. And then come into a forward bend, just to release, flatten your sort of sitting bones. Either go halfway, if you can go all the way, go all the way. Your chest forward, your sitting bones back, and if you can, release your head. If you can release into it, do so. Breathing out, letting go, it's always calming the forward bend. Rotate the thighs slightly inward. And that's that.
Okay, so it's time for a relaxation. We're going to start with a breath, which comes from India, as many of the yoga things, of course, come from Yogananda. And it's a quietening breath. It's also a breath you don't force. You observe how you're breathing, and we have a specific mantra with it, and we do a hand movement with it. Now, the interesting thing which Yogananda mentions about this breath as well is, and I think we so often are not aware of the body as a temple, of what it all accomplishes. I mean, many of the organs have some rest during the night or during the 24 hours. But the one that doesn't is the lungs, of course, and the heart, particular heart. It never stops. So it's quite a thought that if you become, and many people nowadays become 100 years old, that the heart never has a rest. But it does slow down and it does calm down if we can do a mantra breath and simply observe the breath and not force it. I mean, you can imagine what it does when you run, how the heart has to pump. But just that thought, and also that it's tons of blood that it pumps through the heart every day. I remember when I did my training, the remedial training, we were told about the speed of the blood through our veins. It's quite a huge speed. So we're really not aware of the miracle that our bodies are. And sometimes I think maybe you should be a bit more aware of it. And with this particular mantra, which is Hong So, like from Hong Kong, and So is like I saw this bird flying around. It doesn't really matter what it is, but that is the Indian Hong So, which you mentally repeat. You observe the breath as it is, so you don't stimulate it, you just allow it to flow and you observe it, you don't direct it, which is quite a difference. You just flow with the breath. On the inhalation, you say Hong, mentally, on the exhalation, So. But now you also have a movement. This hand is on the left hand is just passive. The right hand is open. You can rest it on your thigh. As you breathe in, the index finger points away. As you breathe out, it moves towards the thumb. I actually make them move away to each other. I find that open together, for me, is easier. So it's Hong, So, Hong, So. I find it easier if you do them together than just bring the index finger to the thumb. It doesn't seem to work. So that's all you do. Quieten your mind. You could fix your gaze, half close your eyes. I prefer to close my eyes. If you need the support, sit against the wall or sit on a chair. Keep this hand passive. Just take a few breaths to start with so you can slow down. Let go of any thoughts. Just observe the breath. Close your eyes. Allow the breath to become comfortable, natural. Not directing it, simply observing it. And as you do the mental mantra, Hong on the inhalation, extend that index finger as your right one, as you breathe out, bring the index finger and thumb, top or the tip of your thumb together. Keep the mantra going, Hong on the inhalation, So on the exhalation, mentally. Repeat it to yourself. At the same time as you breathe in, extend the right index finger. As you breathe out, bring it to the tip of your thumb, the right thumb. And do this totally mindfully. Keep it mindful. Stay with the mantra, the movement, the breath. See if you can do that another 10 times. And then stop the mantra, bring the index finger and the thumb together, and to stay with that after effect. Always noting that you're not your body only. You're much more than just the body. Stay with that kind of feeling of reverence, silence. You very carefully put yourself on the floor, totally releasing your body, allowing your breath to settle. Stay in this emptiness, which at the same time gives you a feeling of fullness, contentment, spaciousness and radiance. dropping into gravity. Slowly bring yourself back. I hope you haven't fallen asleep with that. And feel the floor underneath you. Feel the breath, the weight and the warmth of your body. As you open your eyes. Gradually grounding. And once you've done so, come back into a sitting position. That particular mantra with the breath should actually be done at least for 10 minutes, they say. I don't think I did it that long. So if ever you really want to calm down, it can be used as a meditation for a longer period as well. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the class. And we'll see you again next week. Have a good week. Namaste. Moyele.